You're doing Thanksgiving with your friends, are you? Okay. I'm big on puns and I like wordplay, but why do we need to call it Friendsgiving? Is it Friendsmas? Is it Friendsoween? Like, what? What? Why do we need to add friends to the beginning? Ooh, the Friends of July. Like, no. Like, what are you talking? It's just Thanksgiving with your friends.
Defeated by delicious fruit pie.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another amazing episode 174 of DBDFP, Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies. I am NEDTJ and Ed the Janitor on this wonderful podcast / YouTube channel. We'll be talking about some changes in that format in the near future, but I want to talk to everybody first about the mug of the week. It is a grandma mug. It's pretty cute. Got two cats on it. One has like derp eyes, and it says, "The hell you looking at?" I love stuff like this. It was a funny mug that I found. I thought it was pretty cool. And, it's one of those mugs that you would see over at your grandmother's house when she asks you if you want a cup of fresh. And then you look at the mug and you're like, wait, the hell are you looking at? Like, that's actually kind of awesome. That's some good coffee. I hope that you have good coffee at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you don't, some other warm beverage that maybe is herbal, decaffeinated, pansy, or it's fine. Drink whatever it is that you want to drink. But I do love having the mug of the week. Why don't you ever use your TARDIS mug? Well, so here's the thing. That's at home. This is my office, and I forgot to bring it. And I said that I was going to bring it one of these times. I may bring it next week, no promises. I'll have to get some kind of text or some kind of message in order to think about doing that. But I do love that mug. It keeps things warm for a very long time. I had to refresh the heat on this particular cup of coffee just because it's an open mug and my office is not the warmest place on earth. So yeah, but that's a great mug. I do love it. And it's from a good time of Doctor Who. I complained about this last week a little bit if you missed it, but I am not currently the biggest Doctor Who fan. There are a number of reasons for that, but most of it has to do with the fact that it's just not great. So all right, thank you everybody for coming this week and discussing arcades. So I want to talk about the world of Dave & Buster's or arcades, the current world and the health, I guess, of arcade culture, and some questions, comments, and complaints that I have about that. This is going on to our Thanksgiving specials, so it's the time between the Halloween special and then Thanksgiving, which everybody apparently forgot about in the commercial industry. But since we're not commercialized and we don't get ads, you won't see anything related to Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. Wasn't that a Target commercial? We won't do any of that nonsense. We're going to talk about the Halloween season. That's why Dr. Ocelotopus over here has Mike Myers standing on his head, ready to put that knife somewhere. Hopefully not into Dr. Ocelotopus. I don't want to have to repair him again. But we do talk about Halloween stuff. We talk about Thanksgiving stuff. And today we will be discussing first, what's the deal with arcades today? So there was a new Dave & Buster's that opened up near where I live. And I've never been to one until I went to this one. So this was, I guess these have been around for a long time. New Jersey, I guess, had one a while ago. But up in this particular area, I never saw one, even though there was one like 35, 40 minutes away. There have been other places like a Fun and Games, or I guess like you would be like a Top Dog if you're from like Northeast PA, or DZ Discovery Zone if you were from the 90s, or Philadelphia Celebration Station, those kind of places. Chuck E. Cheese, but I mean, that's gross. Let's be real. Dave & Buster's is an arcade that has figured out that the real way you make money with an arcade is alcohol. So yeah, again, not a kids program, so I'm glad that none of you are children, because I'm going to discuss some of the things that I think are great about Dave & Buster's and that particular aspect of it, and the things that I think could be improved with Dave & Buster's. So let's start with the beginning. They have alcohol at Dave & Buster's. So this is an arcade where you can lower your speed and reaction time and eye-hand coordination, and then play arcade games that require high speed and eye-hand coordination and skill in order to win. I mean, that's genius in and of itself, right? So I remember when I was younger, there was an arcade in the mall near me, and they had House of the Dead 1. And it was very, very difficult. You were like throwing tons of quarters into that game. I think I spent like $20 or $30 just beating it one time with Chris. And we were pretty proud of ourselves for beating that game on like $20 or $30 a piece. Like this was both of us. We took all our money and we were like, we're going to beat this game today. And we beat it. And it was ridiculous because the end boss, I mean, most of it was pretty easy, but the end boss had this move where he basically came down with fireballs in his hand, and then he hit both of the players, no matter what. There was like nothing you could do to stop this. You just shot him when he was like flying upwards, and you hoped that you had enough quarters. It was really like a spray and pray scenario. So this was when we were teenagers, had very high eye-hand coordination, and zero alcohol in our system, and even probably a little soda and caffeine, although Chris didn't really ever drink soda. Freak! I did. I drank some soda, so I had sugar and caffeine pumping through my veins, and we still took a ton of quarters to beat this arcade. Now, you drink alcohol and then go play video games that require the same speed and skill. So that's funny. I mean, I just think that's funny. And I mean, it makes some of the games funnier and like a blast if you're going with a friend or going with a small group. You can kind of just goof around and play in this place together. And it's a fun time. And it just adds that, it's like that social aspect, like team building exercises or going out as a team for like work. You know, if you have work friends or something and you're like, what are we going to do? I don't know. Let's go to Dave & Buster's. Or a date. You know, it's like, where are we going to go? I don't want to just go see a movie because we're just like watching something next to each other and we're eating dinner where we're looking at each other. Why not look at something together cooperatively and try to beat a game because there's a sense of accomplishment, or play air hockey and talk smack, or, you know, play Space Invaders together, just something like that, where there's a benefit to the dating atmosphere because there's alcohol, because there's food, and because there's games. And it's just a unique thing that you can do. So in the beginning, I'm going to tell you why I think this is a great thing. I think the health of arcades are much higher than they used to be, for the most part, because of this blend of food, alcohol, and games. So in Scranton, Pennsylvania, what's up, 313? There is, I mean, it's the 570, but I have the 313 there. It's a long story. But there is an arcade that has old arcade machines, Pac-Man, Centipede, like I think they have Tempest and a bunch of really cool stuff. And they also have a horseshoe bar because the building that they put the arcade in used to be a bar. So like kind of easy, right? I mean, the hard thing is getting a liquor license in Scranton, PA, getting a liquor license. There's probably still like 20 some open liquor licenses. It's only 20 grand. You know, if you're already making a business, that's probably the cheaper part of what you're doing. And it will benefit you the most because we figured out, again, the winning combination is adults playing arcades and drinking alcohol and hanging out together and losing track of time and making poor decisions, like spending even more money playing games that they're not winning because they're drunk. So genius, right? That's like a really smart thing. And I like it and I appreciate it because I want local arcades to succeed and be really prosperous. There are 3 different major arcades within 25 or 30 minutes from my house right now, and I love that. I mean, I remember in the late 90s to the mid 2000s, like maybe like 08, 09, all the arcades were closing. All of them. I mean, every arcade was getting cleaned out, and they were just trading it in for more open space in the food court, or they were just completely changing the food court to make it into a small random mix of shops. I mean, I don't really understand all that. But what I do know is that arcades were on the decline. They were dying. They were dying faster than bowling alleys because there were actually some of the only places left that had arcades were bowling alleys. So to see this now in a healthier state is great. And I understand that they're using alcohol and food as more of a family place to get together and do things. The second great thing that I saw about Dave & Buster's that they do is they have tons of television screens all around the food area. So there's tables all around, there's a horseshoe bar, and you can get food, but there's also TVs that have like, you know, whatever. Right now they had a football game on earlier, and they're going to have today's like Patriots versus Eagles is on right now at Dave & Buster's. So parents can go and have kids go run around and, you know, spend lots of their money on games, and they can watch some kind of sporting event and just hang out, you know, and relax. So it's not so boring for adults. Because the other thing that was annoying when I was a kid is that parents could either drop us off at the arcade and have to pick us up later, which nobody wants to do, let's be real, or they would go to the arcade, drop us off there, and then walk around the store and get shopping done that they wanted to get done. But even for the shoppiest of parents, the longest that was going to be was 2 hours, and then it's like, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm done shopping. I've either gotten everything I wanted, or I'm done window shopping, or I just don't have any more money even if I'm not done shopping, so let's get out of here. which also put children at a disadvantage because they didn't have any way to get more money for quarters for the arcades. Which brings me to the other really cool thing that Dave & Buster's does and other arcades now, which is they're switching over to cards. So you don't have tokens anymore. There's no tickets and there's no tokens. So there's like, you buy a card, it's just a plastic card. It's a useless piece of plastic for $9.95. No, it's like $3, and then you can use that to play games, and it also puts those tickets that you get from the games, you know, those con artist games, the scam games, they give you tickets. Now they're putting those on cards. So these arcades are saving a ton of money. It's a lot cleaner. There's less of a need to have somebody to transfer tokens and transfer tickets. So cutting down on labor, and it's faster, it's a speedier process, and then you can always look and check the balance of your card on a computer, and then you go and you get your junk prizes that are worth a fraction of, you know, what they cost in points. I've never been big on the ticket thing, and so let me talk about one of the negatives that I have about Dave & Buster's and arcades in general. When I was playing arcades, when I was a teenager and going to arcades regularly, and speaking of the DBDFP crew, we loved games like Silent Scope, which was an awesome sniper game where you actually had a sniper rifle and you could like look through the barrel and you could do really good sniping games, stuff with that. Tekken, we played fighting games in general, Marvel vs. Capcom. I liked to play some of the older arcades like Ms. Pac-Man and Centipede and those kind of games. Really liked those. Galaxia. Asteroids was huge. I loved Asteroids. But Time Crisis 2 and 3, really liked those kind of games. Soul Calibur, none of these games give you tokens. We went to the arcade for bragging rights. We wanted to get our name up there on the arcade. For me, it was ENA. I was Enna. If I was playing Dr. Mario at the bowling alley, I wanted Enna to be number one. Now it would be Ned, obviously, N-E-D, because it's easier. But you got your 3 letters, so you wanted to have that up there. Somebody always wanted to put ASS. While that was funny, nobody knew which one of you asses it was that put that up there. So, you know, you did want to kind of get bragging rights. But we would also want to play fighting games together that were really good graphics that we couldn't play at home because we did not own those games. Like, we didn't own Soul Calibur. We didn't own Tekken. So, I mean, Tim did. But the rest of us did not have those things, so we would play that there for quarters and beat the crap out of each other, especially like Marvel vs. Capcom. We didn't have that game. That game didn't come out for consoles for years. So it was awesome. We were playing games that we could like kind of brag about later, or just like, you know you won. You didn't want to rub it in the other guy's face because like obviously you just crushed them. But like you knew. Everybody knew. And you kind of knew where you stacked up. You know, like later on we had Smash Brothers for that and the spread, and a lot of other things. But in arcade world, it was fun to be able to be like, guys, look, I got the top score. I got like number 3. I'm on the top 10 list. And none of those things had anything to do with tickets and tokens and then prizes that we would get, because we understood when we were younger that those prizes sucked and we could probably go to the dollar store and get the same prices. And we didn't really want to get toys. That wasn't why we went to the arcade. But now what I see for the most part is that arcades that are successful, they're successful because of what I call the casino factor. So it's not a slot machine, although some ticket machines just are literally slot machines. I mean, I don't know how else to describe that. But they are just very ugly in the sense that it's like Wheel of Fortune. You're going to go around and around. You push the thing and, ooh, the thing lights up. And then push the other thing and you got 100 tickets. Great. The closest thing to anything I would want to get is like 4,000 tickets. So I'm like a 40th of the way there. For only another $60, I could go get that toy that I could have just spent $20 getting somewhere else. So, you know, I see it, and I see kids playing these games. Not a big fan. I also just watched this really, I guess, depressing video on YouTube where a guy invented a machine that, just like those Wheel of Fortune thing with a light that goes around and around, he invented a machine that he could calibrate to perfectly hit the light every single time, and he still only got the jackpot 1 out of like 30 times. Which means the machine is rigged. And he looked in the manual back from like when the thing was invented, and it basically says you can determine how often somebody wins the jackpot on the machine. That is ridiculous. So, I mean, it's a scam, it's a con. I mean, it's the way it is. And I see this casino factory going on, and it's really sad because you have these kids that now are putting in a card, much like a credit card. There's no money. They don't see the tokens disappear. Like when I was a kid, they didn't even give us cups back in my day. We didn't have cups. You had to hold those tokens in your hand. And like we would take those tokens and you put them in the machine, or you put the stack right on top of the thing and you push the button. You saw those quarters going away. You knew exactly how many plays you had left. And you were like, oh. And the games that were $1, you played like twice because you're like, oh man, I'm not putting in those quarters. And what you never wanted to do was waste quarters, something physical that you had. You don't want to waste those on a machine that was going to cough up 10 tickets. And when you had the 10 tickets in your hand, you went over and you saw something was 2,000 tickets and you're like, I literally don't have enough of these in my hand to create enough of these that would be in my hand to go get that thing and put it in my hand. So now it's a lot easier to just have a card and things are points. I don't even know what the points mean. I mean, I looked, it was like 8.8 points. What do you mean decimal points? What does that mean? How much does it cost for a 0.1 point? Like, I don't, that translation makes no sense to me, especially because depending on how much you spend at once, it gives you more or less points per dollar. So I don't know the translation of dollars to points because it's different always. Whether you put in 20 or 35 or $75, like, oh my God, $75. And you don't even get that much for $75. Anyway, all right, so the arcade is now the casino because the kids are just tapping or swiping the game. They're playing the game. They never see tickets, so they don't know how many they got. They just go back later on and see how many points that they got, tickets they got, and then they go to try to buy things. So the whole time, they're using that principle of psychology where you almost win, and that makes you more willing to spend more and more money on games that are rigged to make it look like you always almost won. That's gross. That's playing on addictive behavioral personality characteristics. Like, you know those big billboards at like the advertised casinos that say, do you have a gambling problem? Call 1-800, no shit. Like it's the same thing, but like in an arcade. So it's training children to be bad gamblers. I really don't like that. And I get it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I get it. I understand. It's fun for kids to play games and still, like, because that's the value added, right? So you get to play the games that gives you the tickets get you the prize. You walk away with a toy. You got to play games for 3 hours and you still got to walk away with a toy. I get that. And I get that arcades need to make money. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And I want arcades to succeed because I want them to exist. But I see it for what it is, which is it's teaching kids to gamble. And it's teaching kids to gamble knowing they're going to lose money in order to get small prizes. The sad thing is, at least at the arcade, you come away with a toy. You go to a casino, you just come away with sadness and smell of booze and regret and probably some weirdos looking at you weird because they're weirdos. It's just worse. They have nothing to look forward to. Go back to Dave & Buster's. I see you going towards the casino. Turn around. Go back to the arcade. Spend your money there. You'll actually win something. So I just don't like that portion of it. But what I like about the modern arcade is that they are trying to make it a place to go hang out. They're trying to make it a place where parents can go, kids can go, dates can happen, friends can go hang out. And there's still something to do for relatively, low amounts of money. So like at Dave & Buster's, they have this thing where it's like $20. You get unlimited wings, which is like 4 wings per order. But you can get as many orders as you want. It just takes forever to get them. And then you get unlimited plays of games that are not ticket games. It's only so many days of the week, but that's fantastic. For somebody like me, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to play any games that take tickets. So now Chris and I can play Connect 4 all day because we can get our little cards, we can get our free whatever, chicken or wings or boneless wings, whatever. We can get that and we can go play Connect 4 because it's not going to be any money at this point. We're just playing over and over again. So for $20 a piece, 2 people could go eat as much as they want and go play as many games as they want that don't require tickets. And I think that's, man, like when I was a kid, that it's more than we could have asked for. Like if it was just $20 back then, I mean, think about what that means. That would be like $10 in 1995, 96, 97. For $10, you can get unlimited chicken, wing or boneless wing in buffalo or barbecue, and you get to play as many arcades as you want that don't give you tickets. Like, seriously, that would be the best thing ever. So you can tell that, like, they're doing some things that are better. Now, another thing that I would say this particular Dave & Buster's could have done better is their television screen placement. So the people that we went with, in the one side, if you're looking over, you can see the game. But like if you're sitting on the other side, you can't. So it's just one of those things. And the other thing that I think would be better, and this is just like a suggestion box thing, which, you know, the other thing is they don't have suggestion box. It's almost like they don't want to hear my opinion. But there's no membership. Like I would expect a place like that to do like a $20 a month membership on certain times of the week. You know, like say like Monday from 5 to 7 p.m. It's just free gaming if you're a member. Why wouldn't you do that? And there's like double points if you're a member or something, or 1.5 times the number of tickets if you're a member when you win. So like instead of getting 35, maybe you got 50, or maybe you did get 70, whatever. Why wouldn't you do that? Somebody's spending monthly. You know they're going to come back. They're going to try to get their money's worth for the subscription. And it's a $20 thing. And maybe you get a coupon in the mail like on your birthday for like a free meal, a free burger or something. You know, like even Red Robin does. Even Red Robin does a free burger on your birthday for a membership that's otherwise totally useless. But there's just something about that I couldn't believe that they didn't think of that. I mean, obviously they're making money hand over fist. You know, seeing as the whole alcohol thing and the gambling addiction thing and children begging their parents while they're sitting there for 3 hours thing. But it would be nice if they did something like the movie theater does with like the $20 a month and you get free gaming and double tickets and stuff like that. It'd be fun. There would just be something they can think about. So Dave & Buster's, I know you're watching right now. You're one of the few people who's on live. Just consider this. All right, so that's all I really had to say about Dave & Buster's. I like Barnes & Nobles to hang out. Yeah, that has nothing to do with an arcade. Why? I don't understand. We're talking about arcades. Arcades! And not casinos. So, yeah, but anyway, that's the whole thing. So now I want to talk about Thanksgiving and why it's harder sometimes to try to figure out Thanksgiving plans than I think the Pilgrims had it landing on Plymouth Rock. Yes, I am exaggerating clearly the difficulty of eating a big meal with people you like instead of struggling to survive in a new world from a big wooden boat that you jumped on to escape persecution. It's the same, okay? It's the same. Family is annoying. No offense, Mom. It's a real pain to figure out holidays, and it's a pain to figure out like getting together for these Friendsgiving. By the way, what is Friendsgiving? Can we just say Thanksgiving with friends? Why do we have to say Friendsgiving? Like, oh, we're doing Friendsgiving. Like, you're doing Thanksgiving with your friends, are you? Okay. I'm big on puns and I like wordplay, but why do we need to call it Friendsgiving? Is it Friendsmas? Is it Friendsoween? Like, what? Why do we need to add friends at the beginning? Oh, the Friends of July. Like, no. Like, what are you talking? It's just Thanksgiving with your friends. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Just count to 10. Don't count. Just stop that. Thanksgiving's annoying because you have to, like, figure out who's going to be there and when they're going to get there, what you're going to do, and then the food, who's going to make what, and then where are we going to have this? And, oh, my God, there's 25 people now, and how are we going to figure that out? Thanksgiving should not be this stressful. Thanksgiving, in fact, should be about sharing a common goal or a common culture and being thankful for all the wonderful things that you have in your life and thankful for the friends and family that you have together for a thing that's not called Friendsgiving, and then eating delicious food units until you want to pass out or puke. That's really what Thanksgiving's all about. And the fact that we really have kind of forgotten that that's what Thanksgiving's about, although I do see that there's still high cranberry sauce sales, that's encouraging. Doing it right. If you're getting a lot of cranberry sauce, you're doing Thanksgiving right. Because if there's one thing that you need at Thanksgiving, it is not turkey. Oh, no. It's cranberry sauce. It's cranberry sauce and then more cranberry sauce, and I got mine, and you don't get to touch it. And then there's those people who are like, oh, I got the ones that have the berries in it, the cranberries. You're like, it's not cranberries, it's cranberry sauce, which is not a sauce at all. It's a jelly. It's Jell-O. You're basically eating cranberry Jell-O. And I don't know why Jell-O brand Jell-O really never got on that bandwagon. They really could have mopped up the whole, cranberry Jell-O thing. But they also had Bill Cosby as their spokesperson, so I guess not really big on the long-sighted thing. But it's fun to be able to eat these kinds of food items with your friends. It's just really annoying to set it up, like really annoying. I don't understand why there's not a tradition of like potluck. Like everybody just does potluck, and then they all go hang out somewhere for Thanksgiving, and we just know for a fact that we're going to go from house to house to house every year. We don't have a coordinated, organized way of doing Thanksgiving in America. Maybe you Canadians do, and I know you already celebrated your Thanksgiving, and good for you. And like Robin Williams said, it's okay because you're like a loft apartment over a really good party anyway. Hey, keep it down there, eh? Not to pick on the Canadians. I do like my Self-Reliance channel, and that's a Canadian channel. I like you, Sean. Cheers to you. He doesn't watch this channel. So Thanksgiving, though, really should have some ground rules. So I'm going to lay out some ground rules for Thanksgiving for you all right now that you can take home, take it to the bank, take it to your friends. Rule number 1, it's not Friendsgiving, okay? Do not tell your friends you want to set up Friendsgiving, okay? Smack the first person. I'm not condoning violence. I'm just saying smack them, all right? I'm not condoning violence. It's not violence. You're kind of like setting them straight. You know, it's like that Scared Straight program. It's smacking them straight. The first person who tries to say Friendsgiving, like they're like, oh yeah, let's do a Friends. Don't even let them finish it, because that's wrong. It's just wrong. And say, you mean Thanksgiving with friends. Dun-dun-dun. The more you know. So that's the first thing. Rule 1, no Friendsgiving. It's just Thanksgiving with friends. Rule number 2, cranberry sauce is required. How much? 1 per person. Don't let people scoop that big, I'm taking the... Why are you doing that? Get a can yourself. Yes, a can. Get a can yourself, okay? And don't get that generic store brand stuff. Get Ocean Spray, okay? That's the real cranberry sauce. I don't understand you people. That's rule number 2. 1 per person. Rule number 3, change who hosts Thanksgiving with friends every year. Rotate, people, rotate. If you don't like one of the locations of one of your friends, don't invite them to Thanksgiving. They're out of the rotation. You know what? You want to be in the rotation? Live somewhere better. Eat that friend. So that's rule number 4. There has to be turkey, but can we do more legs? Can we just do more legs? Like drummies, though. I don't care about the thighs. One time I went to get, I thought, turkey drumsticks, because everybody likes turkey drumsticks. Ask somebody who went to a Renaissance fair. Everybody loves drummies. I went to Whole Foods and I ordered can I get, I forget how many pounds of turkey legs. So they gave me turkey legs, which were the thighs and the drumstick. So I had to cook thighs and drumsticks, which meant there were less than half the number of drummies I wanted, and I had to eat turkey thigh. Turkey thigh is not like chicken thigh. It's not good. It's just not good. I had a bad experience. Ask for the drummies. Just say straight up, I just want the drumstick. Rip that thigh off. I don't want that thigh. Offer that to someone else who doesn't even celebrate Thanksgiving, because that's not very Thanksgiving-y for them to have that in the first place. So, yeah, you don't like turkey legs. No. I'm going to just assume that was a typo. I do like turkey legs. Excellent. I do too. That's great. So that's rule number 5, is make sure that there are enough legs for everybody too. Rule number 6, have it early so people can leave, like go home, because you don't want to end up with your Thanksgiving with friends, not Friendsgiving, being your Thanksgiving with friends who end up staying the night because they don't have anywhere to go because they're too full and drunk. Which leads to the next rule, which is don't let anybody get drunk on Thanksgiving. Okay, it's not Christmas. Don't break out eggnog. You don't need people there for a week. You're already hosting them for dinner. And by the way, they know because they just hosted it last year for dinner if you did it right. See? And so, you're not trying to get people drunk. Water down that wine. Don't offer beer. If you're going to do mixers, forget to put in the alcohol. You know what I'm talking about. Not only is that a cheaper solution to your problem, but when they're acting really stupid, you can just say, you're just stupid because there's no alcohol in your drink. There can be all kinds of entertainment had in that regard. And then you can just tell people it's time to drive home. You know, it's Thanksgiving time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And that leads me to the last rule. Don't go out to the bar after Thanksgiving dinner with your friends. That's mistake face. Only bad things can happen when you just finished eating a bird that has tryptophan in it, and then you went out to a bar to drink alcoholic beverages, and then you expect what? What do you expect? Did you drive? Did you Uber? It doesn't matter. You're exhausted. You probably cooked all day because you hosted, because you're the idiot this year. And then you're going to go out and drink after you just ate enough food to put a horse into a coma? I don't think that's right. I just don't think it's right. So those are my rules for Thanksgiving. It'll save you and your friends a lot of trouble, and it'll also keep you from hanging out with those friends who have scummy places to live. You're welcome. All right, so apple cider and coffee. Ooh, I like that. No, it is a typo, okay? You do like turkey legs because everybody likes turkey legs. And not legs, drummies. We're talking about drummies. Maybe you don't like turkey thighs, in which case, I totally agree. Apple cider and coffee. Let me speak to apple cider a little bit, and we'll talk about coffee after because I do love coffee. So apple cider is one of the things that I consider to be proof of God's existence, right? So why is that? I have a couple of proofs out there in the world. One of them is really foolproof. So did you know that geese, when they're flying, cannot take a shit? They can't do it while they're flying. Think about that for a minute. It didn't have to be that way. And it is. Boom, proof of God's existence, or at least a benevolent creator, right? Because that could have been really bad. Have you seen goose crap? It's like dog crap. I'm not going to make you have a full visual of that, but suffice it to say that that is a proof that there is a good and benevolent God out there that does not want us getting carpet bombed every time that it's spring and fall, okay? Like, I used to run around a lake where there were a lot of geese that lived there, and they grew up like the little goslings. Goslings are really cute. Geese are not. They bite. They're nasty. And again, that's a bird that if it could crap while it was flying, it would, and it would target you because they are nasty little creatures. But there was a power greater than geese that zapped them with the inability to relieve their bowels while they're flying. Proof number 2, apple cider. Here's why. There are a lot of juices in this world. Orange juice. Orange juice is fantastic for you. Research tells us that if you drink a glass of orange juice, about 4 to 8 ounces every morning, you will actually fight off things like Alzheimer's and other memory-related disorders, like dementia. So that's really nice. Orange juice is great. Orange juice is also very acidic, but it also has a lot of vitamin C. So orange juice is great. But you need to remove the peel or cut it in half to get the most benefit from oranges. The peels themselves suck up a lot of toxins, pesticides, fungicides, chemicals, etc. Not great to squeeze that rind out for your pleasure. Just another fun fact, when you're trying to zest lemons, limes, and oranges, really clean them out with vinegar or a specific baking soda-esque or baking powder, or some kind of cleaner that actually gets a lot of these poisons out of the skin because it is very toxic and it's cancer-causing. Also causes sterility. Ding! Apples, on the other hand, apples you can crush and squeeze and make a lot of juice out of, including cider, without having to do anything. And they have poison inside of them, like legit. Like they have the seeds and stuff. There's a little bit of poison in there. Not a lot, but enough, maybe enough to have you get used to it over time and then challenge somebody to a poison contest to which they will say that they switched the goblets and, then they'll die and their name's Vicini. And you'll say, I put poison in both of the goblets because you built up a resistance because of the apples. I'm not going to keep referencing Princess Bride to you people because you're just not going to get it. Arsenic. Yes, arsenic. Apples, arsenic. Great. Starts with A, and it's good for you. It's not really good for you at all, although it is a blood thinner, and it can be good in some scenarios where you may have a heart attack. If you are having a heart attack, seek professional help, but also it doesn't hurt to have some aspirin on hand just to thin the blood. That's saved a lot of lives, so I feel pretty comfortable giving that advice. Apple juice is not good. If you've seen apple juice and then you've seen apple cider, apple juice looks like you peed and you're dehydrated. It's gross. It's not normal. I don't like it. Apple cider, on the other hand, is dark and full of that skin and that richness of the red apples that are made to get destroyed and crushed for your benefit. And it tastes way better. It just tastes way better. Hard cider is another beautiful thing that comes from apple cider. And so if you were looking at the fact that it's gluten-free, it doesn't have the toxins and pesticides and chemicals in it that make people who are like allergic to apples, because let's be real, you're not allergic to apples, you're allergic to apple skins, and that's really usually because of pesticides, fungicides, etc. You don't have any of that problem with hard cider, which is a product of apple cider, not apple juice, because when they add apple juice afterward to apple cider, not only does it taste like ass, it probably also gives you that same reaction. So pure apple cider makes pure hard apple cider, which is delicious. And again, like you don't like hard cider? You haven't had the right hard cider. So when I was in England, I had the hard cider Strongbow. And I had Strongbow in America, and it was gross. And I was like, I'm not really into this. And then I was in England where they make it, and it was just fantastic. It was much more like apple wine than it was like the bastardized version of sugar water that it is in America. And then I talked to a distributor. I'm like, why is American Strongbow such ass? And they said, because they're trying to compete with Angry Orchard, and Americans are stupid, and they have this like really crappy taste for things where they want everything to be sugary. So Angry Orchard, which is heartburn juice, is sugary, and so it adds a lot of things to it that make it sweeter after it's already been brewed, because the hard cider naturally is not that sweet. It's more like an apple wine. And so they ruined Strongbow specifically for us Americans, because that's how highly the Brits think of us. Go to England to get your Strongbow. It's just way better. That golden apple stuff is just, that's horrid abomination of apple product. Angry Orchard's also disgusting. So what do you do there? You get Stormalong. That's a Massachusetts-based apple cider product. I'm not even getting sponsored. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I'm not sponsored by these people. It would be great if I was, because I do happen to buy a lot of their stuff. But their hard cider is very good, especially their London Dry. They have some really good stuff. It's very pure, and it's very much more like, again, like an apple wine. But that's proof of God's existence, because if you have gluten allergies and yet you're allergic to apples, you can still drink hard cider. Isn't that nice? Because it didn't have to be that way, much like the goose crap. So anyway, those are the rules and the things that I have to say about Thanksgiving, and also the things that I had to say about hard cider and arcades. If there are any other things that you would like me to discuss on this show, feel free to let me know. But I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the changes that are coming up on the podcast. So as much as I love doing this live, because I like doing this live, there's a lot of video editing, not a lot of video editing. There's some video editing that goes into this that makes it take a long time for me to go back and forth on my computer and then to put it together and re-upload it online. So starting December 1st, I will no longer be doing these live. I will be recording episodes for the podcast. So you can still find us on iTunes at Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies or DBDFP. For some reason, I had somebody look me up on iTunes and they tried to find DBDFP and it didn't come up. So they put in Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies and we came up. So on iTunes, on Libsyn, I'm still working on Spotify. They're terrible over there. They're really bad about the coding. Like, honestly, it's just really annoying to get the coding to work there, but I'm working on it. But you can find us on iTunes, and I'll have the full episode up where I'll be recording myself talking. I'll still have people come on. I'll still be doing interviews. I'll still have guests. But it will be fully audio because, let's be real, as much as you'd love to see my smiling, beautiful face on here, it really is just an audio podcast show. It was always a podcast. I just did this on video for YouTube. It got me a lot more followers and viewers, and that's great, and I appreciate that. I love you all. But I'll still put out clips. So instead what I'll be doing is having a little bit, like a 12-minute segment of these episodes where I'll just do the highlights and post those on YouTube. So if you're still like kind of connected to us through YouTube, you're not a big podcaster, I will have videos every week for you that will be edited, and then I will have a link in the description of every video where you can click on that and it'll take you to either Libsyn or to iTunes so that you can just listen to us and listen to the full episode. So that's one of the things that is going to be changing. There are a lot of reasons for that. One of them is that I will be doing a Twitch stream every week on Wednesday nights for my business, and it's just a lot of time to be live because I'm live on Tuesdays for my business already. I'm going to be live on the evenings on Wednesdays now. So I don't know. I mean, I still will be on once in a while. It's just not going to be every week that I'm doing these live streams. I may do some live Q&A or something on Facebook. I could do some Twitch on Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies if you'd like. Let me know if you want to see at DBDFP on twitch.tv. That'd be fun. I have no problem doing that too. It's not any different, but it just wouldn't be like this every Sunday. I need to have Sundays open up. I need to be working during the week, and I need to not be working during the weekend. So I want to see your face. You're going to see my face. My face is going to exist on YouTube. I will still be here, Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies on YouTube. I'm just going to exist more on audio on iTunes and Libsyn. So you'll be able to listen to me on the way to work, on the way home from work. It'll be a lot more accessible to everybody. and I'll be better at uploading things onto Libsyn when I know that's the priority. So we already have a lot of subscribers up on Libsyn and on iTunes, but feel free to go on there and just check us out. It'd be cool to get a subscription to Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies on iTunes. It's honestly easier to grow an audience as a podcast, and if I get more of an audience, I could start to do advertising on there too, which could monetize this. And if this honestly was monetized a lot, this could become a priority more so than work. And I know that sometimes I'm doing this on Mondays, sometimes I'm waiting, sometimes I just don't do it on a Sunday. And a lot of that is because honestly, I have to eat, right? So I would love to eat fruit pies, but I do need to get paid to eat said fruit pies and be defeated by them. So yeah, that's kind of the rationale behind all that. Another topic, apple pie versus pumpkin pie. That's not a real thing. Pumpkin pie obviously dominates apple pie in every way. Apple pie falls apart when you're trying to eat it. Most people have to apply ice cream and whipped cream to a piece of apple pie in order for it to be good. You have to add a lot of cinnamon and clove and other spices to an apple pie for it to be delicious. Pumpkin pie, that's perfect the way it is. Don't add whipped cream. Eat it cold the next day for breakfast. And when my mom used to make extra pumpkin pie, that's what we were doing in the morning the next day after Thanksgiving. We were eating that stuff for breakfast, which is awesome because it's delicious. It's not even, it's a gourd pie. So I guess we were defeated by delicious gourd pies when I was younger. But pumpkin pie is awesome. It's totally better than apple pie. I know that apple pie is pretty American, but you know what? Pumpkin pie should be too, because pumpkins aren't really anywhere else. It's a very American thing. Kind of like corn and turkeys and baseball and Manhattan and America and Team America World Police. I do like your apple pie. Okay, now I'm in trouble. See, this is the thing with moms. You can't answer the right way because no matter what you say, there's something that's wrong with it. Apple pie is fine, but you got to heat it up and you got to add stuff to it. Pumpkin pie is perfect cold. So, like Chinese food the next day or pizza that's been left out and that you can eat in the morning, pumpkin pie can be done. Apple pie, if you leave it out, that's not going to work out. It's not going to be good for business. It's not going to be good for anyone. All right, that's about it for me this week on Defeated by Delicious Fruit Pies. I am NEDTJ here on DBDFP signing off. I will see you all next week. I'm still doing the Thanksgiving special, and then after that, we'll see. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll see you guys later.
Defeated.